I nearly lost everything. It wasn't because I didn't care, because I stayed silent for too long. And when I finally spoke up, the words cut deeper than I ever intended. I need you to hear this. Not because I want your sympathy, but because I know what it's like to be where you are. This episode isn't about mental health theory. It's about the fight behind closed doors that too many of us are facing in silence. For months, I wore this mask. The guy who had it together, the husband who kept pushing, the dad who didn't flinch. But underneath, I was crumbling. Like a lot of men, I internalised everything. Pride told me it would pass. Shame told me not to talk. Thought I was protecting them, my partner, my kids. I thought I could carry the weight by myself. All it did was drive a wedge between us. It's that wedge that unsettles the dynamic within your home. Your willingness to put everything above your health, everything above your mental strength, costs you dear, disrupts the relationship that you have. It destroys the experiences that you want to have. Your relationships are darker. Your days, well, they get longer too. The challenge, we know we're in deep. We know we're in trouble. We know that we need to step out of the darkness. We know how far we've fallen. That dark state that you find yourself in, if you're listening to this, that dark state hangs over you. It clouds your judgment. It stops you seeing the joy. It stops you connecting with your kids, but it stops you moving forward. Everything becomes harder. You're fatigued. The energy is depleted because you don't know where to turn. You just keep pushing. What happens when you push too hard? When you think you're through it, it can catch you out. And it's on the second fall, the third fall, the fourth fall. Yes, you can pick yourself back up. But as the legs fatigue, the body fatigues, the mind fatigues, you no longer influence from a position of strength and confidence. You no longer influence your children in the way that you want to, because you no longer see the light. You no longer see the brightness that they bring to your world. You shoulder so much and you struggle on. You will fight against it with every last breath. But they don't need you to take your last breath. The shame, it stops you opening up. It forces you to internalise everything. But what if it was different? How would you feel? Would you feel lighter if you just accepted that you need to talk? It doesn't have to be that you suffer in silence, caged by your own internal dialogue. In my own story, there were nights that I'd just lie awake. The silence in our bedroom, louder than ever. I'd show up at work, crack the odd joke, do the job. But every second I wasn't distracted, I was spiralling. It stops you from thinking straight. As your fatigue kicks in, you're drained. That response time is delayed. You no longer think on your feet. Your dialogue delayed. Sentences break down. People start to question your judgment. Maybe not externally, but they'll certainly question whether you're fully committed. Now imagine if your kids questioned that too. Where would that leave you? How would you feel? How would you earn back that trust? And how would you stay on top of it all? My friend, it could be any challenge. It doesn't have to be family related. It could be something at work, that project that you're throwing yourself into, but it creates conflict, right? The more fatigued you get, the harder it becomes to make those decisions, to find those solutions. And that is when performance begins to suffer. And as your performance begins to suffer, at home and at work, you question the quality of your output. You question the quality of what it is you set out to achieve. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The harder the snap, the harder the fall. Shame forces us internally to question who we are, the fabric of who we are, what we've worked for. But outwardly, it leaves others questioning your integrity, questioning your love, questioning your connection, your passion, your joy. Kids don't need to see the shadow of the man that you've become. Kids need to see you burning brighter than the sun. They need to see you as you. They need to understand your story. They need to understand that Dad is willing to give it everything he has, but he also knows his limits. He also knows when he needs to take a step back. He also accepts that he's not perfect. And chasing perfection is what's costing you so much. Your life that you lead in the workplace, outside of the home, if that's causing friction, if that is causing you to lose sight of what's important, it is dulling your influence at home. And they begin to see this distant man, this lost man, this shadow of the man he once was. They will tell you, they will call you out, because as they learn your behaviour, they mirror it too. So your shame leaves them questioning who they are. Is it their fault? Your shame leads them to feel that shame too. That shame erodes their confidence, their self-esteem, their self-worth. That is why we must bounce back. That is why so many of us fall. So many of us fail to find the way back. And it's those that destroy lives. They leave a legacy of chaos behind, unanswered questions, fear, anger, hatred. But as a dad, willing to make changes, you see, that's sacrifice. He understands who he needs to become to give his children what they need, which is a present, connected dad. Someone willing to show up. Someone willing to overcome setback and challenges. Mental health doesn't have to be a cage. It doesn't have to destroy the fabric of everything you built. It does not have to erode the love they have for you. And it does not have to leave a legacy filled with questions. When Max was born, I should have felt joy. Instead, I felt trapped, and that guilt ate at me. And here's the thing. I couldn't admit that I was struggling. Not to my boss, not to my friends, not even to my wife. I was afraid the moment I let it out, I'd lose everything. And then it happened. I snapped. Not physically, but with words I'll never be able to take back. In that moment, my silence shattered. And with it, the version of me I'd spent so long trying to hide. Like you, I thought asking for help was admitting weakness. What I didn't realise was that not asking for help was costing me everything. The moment I opened up, my world shifted. No, it didn't fix everything, but it allowed me to breathe, to see clearly, to start rebuilding trust with the woman who stood beside me. Vulnerability, it didn't make me weak, it made me visible. And that changed the game. You embrace that vulnerability because you need to become stronger. You need to accept at times that you haven't got this shit figured out. Sometimes you need to talk, sometimes you need to write stuff down. Sometimes you need to challenge the way you think and feel. And if you can, if you have that confidant that allows you to talk things through, that is prepared to listen without judgment, that vulnerability becomes your power, your superpower, because you understand your limitations. You can work on your weaknesses. You can build new behaviours, new habits, new beliefs, and all while staying connected to what truly matters. In the darkness, you have a choice to shrink, or you have a choice to fight back, fight towards the light. But you, and you alone, make that choice. You alone have to take the steps toward a brighter future. You alone need to seek support. You alone need to get the help you need. It starts with an acceptance that you're struggling. It then has to become an admission. It's the admission that sets you free. It's the admission that breaks the chains. It's the admission that gives you that clarity to take steps forward. But you've got to work hard at it. Mental health, and the thing about mental health, and in my experience, is if I stop and I stand still for too long, I still lose sight of the things that bring me joy, the things that create light in my world. I have to have a constant line of sight on what's important, why it's important. Every decision is rooted in what's important to me. Every decision I make, I understand the cost of not following through. I understand the benefit to those I love. Clarity gives you confidence to make better decisions. Clarity, understanding what's held you back, understanding the pain that you feel, respecting it, and giving yourself permission to move forward, that's what sets you free. That's what allows them to see who you truly are. That's what builds confidence, strength. That is what gives you that motivation to keep moving forward and staying on the right side of the tracks. There's always a shift, but you have to commit to it. Now, when I feel that pressure building, I talk. When I'm not okay, I say it. My kids need a father who's not just physically present, but emotionally honest. That doesn't mean I've got all the answers, and it doesn't mean I give them bits of information they don't need to see. It means I show up even when I'm tired, especially when I'm tired, because hiding nearly destroyed me, and I refuse to raise my boys into thinking that silence is strength. You have this unique power over your children. They see who you are. They see you for every flaw. They see you for your greatest qualities. They love you unconditionally. Your role is not to breach their trust. Your role is to create this environment where they understand who they are, understand their power. They have that relationship with you where honesty rings true. They are your legacy. They cannot be limited by your limited outlook. If you've failed at anything but got back up, it's the story for the comeback that's important. It's the story connected to the failure that allows you to learn, to flourish, to give them experiences that matter, that help you shape their resilience, their strength, their power. Your shame stops them becoming who they were destined to be. Our failure to open up, our failure to talk stops them. We can be hardened by the truth, hardened by the pressure that we find, the anger, the frustration, the setback. But when they need you to be emotionally ready to help them on their journey, can you do that if you're not clear on what's held you back in the past, on what stopped you living to your potential? They need to see the version of you that speaks truth. They need to look at you and feel inspired. You are their one and only role model until they discover something more powerful outside your home. You must find it within yourself to break those shackles of shame, because it does hold us back. It forces us onto the back foot, into the defensive. It stops us leading and inspiring and guiding. If you're holding something in, I'm giving you permission to let it out. Not because it's easy, but because your family needs the real you. You don't need to hit rock bottom to take that first step. That was my mistake. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Ask yourself, what's the cost of staying silent? I can tell you firsthand, it's too high. Start with a conversation. Start with honesty. Start today. This podcast isn't just for dads, it's by one. If this resonated, pass it on to a mate who's struggling or you think is struggling, someone who's gone quiet on you. DM me, send a voice note, show up for yourself. We're building something here, a space where fatherhood isn't filtered. You don't need to go at it alone. This is Fatherhood in Focus. Every episode is designed to support you on your journey, to give you that insight, hopefully, to make the decisions that truly matter to you and to them. If I could give you one piece of advice today, don't bottle it up. Don't hide. Don't feel closed in by the shame. Don't dim your light for anyone. Listen to that gut feeling. Take a step forward. Find support. Access our resources if you need to. Understand that your role is so much bigger than you. It has such a profound impact on those that you love the most. And that is the power of fatherhood. This is Fatherhood in Focus. I'm Aidan. Thank you for listening.